Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Apocalypse Movies and the Marvel Rewind here on the channel as we are here for the finale of Hawkeye on Disney+, the latest MCU show to hit the streaming service from Walt Disney Studios. I'm Jake Berlin. I'm the host today, just for a little bit, since I do got to bounce out a little bit early, and I'm joined today by my fellow crewmates here, Mr. Jacob Bartley and Brian Avicino. Gentlemen, how's everyone doing? Christmas is around the corner. Everyone doing okay?
Last minute Christmas shopping, as always. Is
that what you're doing?
Yeah, here and there, you know.
Okay.
As much as I can, but it's cool. I mean, it's nice. I'm glad we have so much content to talk about during this.
It's a ridiculous amount of content to talk about. Spider-Man, Hawkeye, Doctor Strange 2 trailer. Like, there's just the amount of MCU stuff getting thrown at us right now is ridiculous. Yeah. If you gentlemen are good with it, let's just dive right into this because this is everything that this show has been culminating to. A lot of things have been happening over the last 5 weeks as we've seen this series develop, and everything comes to a head today in this episode. Not just in this show, but multiple strings throughout the Marvel timeline have officially come together. As we saw last week, the official announcement and reveal that Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, is officially back and he's inside the MCU, and we get him in all of his glory this episode, which he began the episode off. He and Eleanor Bishop were the very first scene of this episode. It all spiraled into a Christmas party and then an ice rink, a blowout, if you will, and ending all on a farm, which is always kind of the good way to end a show, if you will. Let's talk about initial reactions, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty. Brian, let's start with you, man. Initial reaction to the finale of Hawkeye.
It was great. I mean, it's just been consistently great, so there isn't really much to deviate from that's constant flow. So no complaints for me.
That's it. That was your reaction. That was your instant reaction.
Do you want me
not like oh my god, Kingpin, or oh my god.
Well, you said my reaction to it, not details. I mean, I love Kingpin. I think he is like it feels like Kingpin from the comic books, especially when he's walking around and just throwing Kate Bishop and literally like taking arrows and just keeps going. Like, I love it. I love this Kingpin.
I agree, and we're definitely gonna get into him. Jacob, what about you? Initial reaction, kind of thought as you watched this episode?
No, I'm over here laughing because I had mixed feelings about this episode. To be honest, look, there's some really cool stuff that happens. There's some amazing things, like some of the Kingpin scenes, the Yelena stuff, some really, really cool stuff going down in this episode. And overall, I think it was a good story about Hawkeye, about Clint Barton himself by the time it was done.
You mean Lady Hawk?
Yeah, Lady Hawk, Hawk Eve, or whatever you want to call it.
Hawk Eve, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just felt like they were trying to squeeze too much into one episode. Honestly, that's how I felt. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I still enjoyed it, and there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
You want to know why? Because the directors who did the first 5 episodes didn't direct this episode.
Maybe that is why. Is that the case?
Bert and Bertie, I think that's their name. Bert and Bertie, I think are their names. They didn't direct this episode.
Interesting. So maybe that's why it felt different.
Very odd choice. I feel the same way. I feel like there was a lot going on in the episode. I still very much enjoyed it. Yeah. I think that there was a lot of things to be excited about. There was some really cool action. All the Trico stuff was great. The Yelena stuff was great. I need a Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova show immediately.
Oh my goodness! When they were in the elevator, I was like, "Hold on a minute! This is Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld." Like
when she slaps Yelena, I died. Died, absolutely died. But it did feel very kind of like jumbled, and it was unfortunate because I enjoyed everything that was going on with Kingpin and Kate Bishop, like their kind of interaction. I enjoyed the Eleanor stuff. I enjoyed the Elena stuff. The unfortunate part is that one of the biggest parts of the show has been Echo and Kazi, and to me, their story didn't end as good as I wanted it to. Like, it took a giant backseat in the episode. And I understand that it's being set up for her show. I get that, because we're going to see more of them in her show, the Echo Show. But it just...
you're going to see more Kazi in the Echo Show?
I think we're going to see more Kazi in the Echo Show.
Oh, no. I don't think he's dead.
I think he's dead. I think he's dead. Yeah.
Well, that would be very unfortunate if he's dead, because then we wouldn't see the clown character, which would be very unfortunate. And it's not like we haven't seen characters, stay alive. But anyway.
Well, maybe Kingpin and his whole crew, they have ways to just stay invincible and not die, because Kingpin could have had a nuke shot at him and he would have survived.
Well, he was run over by a car, and then there was an explosive arrow that he survived from, and then he's going to survive from a gunshot. Spoilers.
Look, there's no way he's dead, right? Because no way. There's no way.
I should actually. Brian texted me last night after. Brian texted me last night because we watched the episode at midnight, and he texted me after he had finished it. He goes, "I just need someone to tell me, other than myself, that he's actually not dead." And I sent him.
No, I agree.
I sent him the strips of the comics where Echo actually shoots Kingpin and makes him go blind. I don't think he's going to go full blind. I think he'll lose an eye, but that does happen in the comics where Echo actually does shoot him. So.
Okay, so maybe she shoots him on one side of his face or something.
I think so. There's a high possibility where he goes full blind, but he doesn't stay blind forever. That happens in the comics. He doesn't stay blind forever. But I lean more towards him being shot in an eye and losing an eye.
Yeah. I just want Kevin Feige to come out and say, "Don't worry, he's not dead. We're going to see him again." That's all I want to hear.
People were livid on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter was going chaotic.
Well, I think it was a mistake to even imply that he might be dead. Honestly,
I kind of agree. I definitely kind of agree, because I
thought that part was unnecessary.
Well, it's like that Superman situation after BVS, right? Like, you're going to kill him, but then at the very end of the movie, you're going to show that he's basically alive when the dirt's floating. Yeah. Like, it's the very same type of thing, right? Yeah. Like, we just know, like, don't act like we're dumb. But anyway,
there were a lot of dummies on Twitter, so.
Well, yes, of course.
People were freaking.
But look, that's kind of where we can start. My God, Kingpin is Kingpin.
I love him.
He's humongous.
Yes,
they make him bigger.
No, he's always been that big. But his powers have definitely been amped up.
Well, he's just super strong. It's like if Kane or the Undertaker just were out there. Like, they're just so strong because they're so big.
But I think they made him even stronger compared to what he was in Daredevil. In my opinion.
He rips off the door.
That's what I'm saying. He rips off a car door. Like,
do
you think
he has the arrow?
He also survives Eleanor Bishop literally throwing him 20 feet, going 30 miles an hour.
Do you think he has some type of superhuman ability or something?
No.
So you just think he's a really strong big man?
I think it's just him. Yeah.
That's the most likely. Okay. There is, he does a lot of times in comics and stuff use the ISO 8 crystal, which is usually what's in his cane, but I don't think they're going to go that route.
I think that they're just going to make him super strong, durable stuff like what we saw in this episode, which
I like that.
Really love. I really
I do because this Kingpin can fight Spider-Man. At least
and that's the point. So before he was a street level character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's not just a villain, he's a super villain.
Yeah.
That's the key. He's a super villain. And here's the first thing that I thought of when I saw all this going down. So they did this to Kingpin, right? Imagine what they're going to make Daredevil look like.
Well, I was thinking about that, and
imagine what they're going to make him look like.
I don't want to spoil any. I guess we can't talk spoilers for No Way Home.
Because, this isn't really a spoiler, but in the comics, Daredevil has a very Spider Sense-esque thing with him.
And it's like the Ben Affleck one.
They barely touched on it in the show, and they're gonna make this Daredevil look amazing.
And all I'm saying is, I think this Daredevil is going to be a little bit physically stronger than
100%
the other Daredevil, the
100%.
Netflix Daredevil. Yeah,
agreed.
Just like they did with Kingpin.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah. No, it makes them fit more in this world because now they can kind of run with the big dogs a little bit. You know,
it's
more believably.
It's like in the Ben Affleck one. It was like a sonar almost.
Yeah. I think Gordon said it. A radar sense. It's like a radar.
Mhm.
Yeah. In fact, I sent
Sonar's like Morbius, right?
I mean,
Even though they're
it's
kind of the same thing.
It's like the exact same thing. It's like an echolocation type thing where the sound bounces back and you see the image.
Yeah. Well, they established in the TV show that he basically sees fire, which I don't know if they'll go there necessarily. But that's kind of like a version of it.
I was waiting for them because they made it sound like there was for sure going to be an answer of Netflix being written in. There wasn't really anything to tell me that, in my opinion.
Well, no, they didn't mention anything about like Kingpin's past doings.
Well, Bert and whatever the other one said that you'll get an answer in this episode. And I was like, there's no like flat out answer. Like I didn't see
whether
one.
or not it's the same Kingpin, like whether or not it's a variant or not.
I mean, I think I think it's the same Kingpin.
I mean, yeah, I do too, but like it just
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think we know yet. I don't think they gave us an answer. Honestly,
no, I don't think so either. Now that you say that, Brian, I don't think there was like a definitive like.
No, I didn't see one because that was honestly the thing I was looking for the most out of the whole entire episode was because they said that we get an answer in this one. And I was like, I didn't get that at all. Like I was waiting for like I've fought the Defenders before or something like that, where it's like, oh, okay, well then there you go. But
I mean,
I didn't get
either way. I think we can all agree that Kingpin was amazing in this episode.
He was dope.
It was so good to see him. I didn't think we were going to get him in an action scene.
The Kate Bishop fight was awesome.
I love when
Haley Steinfeld like fully, because this is the last thing I say before I have to jump off. Like being able to see her like really show her ability as a character, even though she was getting absolutely thrown around. Like I love when he does the belly thing.
Yeah,
like he just uses his body. It was very cool to see him just kind of like fully let go, because we saw it a little bit in the Daredevil stuff. Like we saw him let loose against him, but it wasn't to like this size. And like Jacob said, like this allows him to fight people like Spider-Man or Daredevil or any other major characters like a She-Hulk who's coming to Disney Plus. You know, characters like that who have the ability to that have like superpowers, if you will. It makes him transfer from a villain to a supervillain, which is the big thing I think they needed to do.
Anything else you want to spit out really quick before you leave?
I really, really love the ending. And I told Brian this last night because Brian didn't catch this. And it's something I've been sitting on for a little bit. But if you didn't know already, so we know that Clinton Barton's wife was a SHIELD agent. Yep. She is none other than Mockingbird.
Yeah, it has the 19 on the watch.
Yep.
It's funny because I thought it said IS. So I had been scouring for who IS was. I just didn't get a good look
Agent
at
19.
Because Mockingbird is Agent 19, right?
Yeah.
Agent 19. And in the comics, if you know Hawkeye, if you've read any of his most significant relationship was always with Mockingbird.
That's so cool.
And so it makes sense. And it also leaves me very sour because I don't think we'll ever see a Mockingbird story because Linda Cardellini is just a little too old. I think she's kind of set into the role of family. Unless they do something in the past, which they haven't really done much of.
Well, now we know, like, if somebody attacks the house, right? She's a trained fighter. Like,
for sure.
She has powers, right? Mockingbird has powers, doesn't she?
No, and there's different versions.
There's different versions, but the main version doesn't. She has
maybe this one doesn't.
I think the sticks that she has have the ability of like
okay. It's like Black Widow sticks.
I bet she has those. She has those still. I think we'll see her in an action scene in the future. I would
love to. Because I love Linda Cardellini. And I think
me too.
Her and Jeremy Renner together, like as an old school power couple, would be really cool in the MCU. But
they'll probably honestly get attacked
at their home at some point.
Kingpin will probably find them.
And I also love that. Just lastly, I love that Kate Bishop is a part of the Barton family. That's great. I love it.
It's cute.
I love it. Perfect little ending. Yeah, perfect little ending. But yeah, I'm out. So thank you guys. Sorry it's short-lived, but I know there's someone else sitting in the wings waiting for as well. So
yes, we're
enjoy the conversation, boys.
All right, man. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
As we swap.
Gio's here. What's up, Gio?
Swap, Jake.
So I don't think you heard at the beginning of the show, Gio. I didn't love this finale, to be honest. I thought it was a little bit sloppy and they were trying to do too much at once. But there were some really cool things. Brian seemed to have liked it a lot. How are you feeling?
Nope. This one didn't do it for me. That doesn't mean there wasn't cool moments in here. Like, I definitely appreciated the conversation between Hawkeye and Yelena.
So Jake enlightened us that the people that directed the first 5 didn't do the last one.
Okay.
So that could
Well, this
also
episode
explain.
had so much in it. I bet you they were shooting this one episode while they were shooting the rest. And like they had to have another director work on this episode because there's so many grand things like the tree falling, the Kingpin stuff, the Yelena stuff. And it's like, oh my goodness, there's so much stuff going on. Look, I love Yelena Belova. She's probably my favorite new character they introduced in the last couple of years. But I think they could have left that storyline for another time, to be honest, because once she comes into the picture, like Jake talked about, what's her name? The character Kingpin's Maya. So she takes a back seat. Like her storyline kind of gets pushed to the back because there's like 4 different storylines going on. And it was a lot for a 6 episode miniseries.
Part of me wonders if they had to make it so short because of just the amount of like big names that were in this.
Oh, possibly.
I mean, Florence Pugh's probably doing stuff. Haley Steinfeld's probably doing stuff. Jeremy Renner's probably doing stuff. Vera Farmiga's probably doing stuff. I mean, that's a lot of big names. I mean, whether or not they're doing Marvel stuff, who knows? But I'm sure they were busy. And I just looked up the guy that directed it, and he has just not done anything. He's done like some comedy show stuff.
And he didn't direct any of the other episodes, right? Because I think it wasn't the same directors on all 5.
Bert and Birdie were the ones that did. Oh no, he did number 2 and number 1. So they split it.
That's funny because not everybody loved 1 and 2. That's interesting because 1 and 2 were people didn't love, and then 3 through 5 is when everyone was like really liking the show.
Yeah. So
I mean, at least myself, I'm not too impressed.
You're not
with
wrong.
The finale.
Yeah. So they split it. So Bert and Birdie were 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And the other guy did 1, 2, and 6.
Interesting. So,
interesting.
Gio, what specifically didn't work for you?
It just things. I mean, there's a lot of plots that needed to be tied up, or at least have some sort of, payoff. It didn't feel that way for myself. And look, the elephant in the room for me is Kingpin and how they treated his character in this episode. I mean, at first I was loving it. There he is with a cane, power suit and all, but him fighting Kate Bishop, what?
You didn't like that?
Hell no. What the this is the same guy who went toe to toe with Daredevil, kind of went toe to toe with Punisher. Like, what is
with Bullseye?
I mean, he did get messed up a bunch of times before he.
But also, if you guys, I mean, Gio, you just watched the fight, so maybe I don't know how much you noticed. I've seen the episode twice, and he's not trying to hurt or kill Kate Bishop. He's just trying to throw her off of him like an annoying bug or something. Like,
I love every time he talks.
He's like, mind your own business, even though that's her mom. And it's like, if he wants to kill the mom, wouldn't he want to harm her daughter too? Which that was interesting to me. But it seemed like he had no interest in hurting or killing Kate Bishop. He was just trying to get her out of the way. So I think it was I think he was holding back, to be honest, with her. I really do.
Well, now he's dead. So
he's not dead.
Then why do that?
I know.
In-
See,
because
that bothered me too.
that exact thing happened in the comics, so they were recreating it. He goes,
Okay.
so she confronts him, shoots him in the face. Somehow, I don't know. I didn't read the comic enough. He survives it, but he's blind for a good amount of time from it. And then it's a whole thing. It's in the comics.
So that's that.
Jake
I mean,
sent me the
that's
thing.
cool.
It's literally like they.
So that was like
looks just
kind
like
of an
it.
Easter egg for people who know that, but still, like I was like, why even show that? You
I
know,
thought
it's
it was
like,
unnecessary. I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, I get what they were trying to do. I guess recreating the comic book page, but I didn't really need it. Here, I'll send it to you guys.
So, all right, let's hypothetically, if he is dead, like let's just say that was the end of Kingpin in the MCU, I would be so upset.
You and everyone else would be
I
furious.
would be pissed because he's like the street level version of Thanos. Like he's like the biggest you can get as far as street level villains go, and he's supposed to be the man. Like I wanted to see him continue on in New York on Earth and be a huge threat for characters like Daredevil, Echo. And if they really killed him, that's just a complete waste to bring Vincent D'Onofrio back. But I don't think they did. There's no way. That would be the stupidest move on Earth.
I agree. There's no way. You don't just kill off Kingpin for 2 episodes.
No way.
Like,
and
I mean, Jake threw out the theory the other day that Kingpin's probably going to be the Young Avengers' villain.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's not a bad idea. There's no way they kill off him that quickly. No chance. Because then, I mean, then if that happens, you still have the unfinished story of Daredevil. Like,
yeah, exactly. And there's no way they're bringing Matt Murdock back and then killing Kingpin. What?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
So we'll see. I think we're gonna find out more about that. After seeing the whole season, like I said, I think they kind of shoehorned the Yelena stuff in. The most functional thing she did was reveal that Kate's mom was the one who hired her to kill Clint and all that stuff, which was interesting. Kind of like outed the mom to her and Clint. But regardless of that, how did you guys feel about the Yelena Hawkeye fight and then them talking about Natasha and all that?
I just love Yelena.
Yeah.
Anytime she's on screen, I'm okay with
awesome.
it. I mean, I can definitely see how they just used her to, like, here's your spy. Here's the info.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Clint. Okay, we're fine. Bye.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I love the interactions with her and Kate Bishop. I think that's hilarious because Yelena's not seriously fighting her. She's kind of like joking with her. And she when she says this was fun, bye, and then she just like leaves.
Yeah.
We know if Yelena wanted to kill Kate, she could do it in 2 seconds. But she's just kind of toying with her as well.
My whole thing is like for the people that were like, oh, it wasn't blah blah blah. Do we really want or need more of her going after Clint? Like, how much more would you have wanted?
No, not at all.
Did you want another like show of her going after Clint? Do you want? So for me, I was kind of okay with it. I was just like, okay, that's fine.
They got this conflict out of the way, and now they can just move forward.
I didn't need a whole show dedicated to her chasing him down or a movie or whatever. Like, I think the only thing that I was like, really? Was like, he didn't really need to, or he didn't explain it like that much. Like she just kind of like accepted what he was saying. Like she sacrificed herself. Okay, for what?
He said, if I told you what really happened, you wouldn't believe me. Come on, look at all the crazy stuff going on in the MCU. She'd believe you.
I was just like, I mean, if someone just tells me like, your sister's dead, she sacrificed herself to save the world, I'd be like, okay, why? Like, what'd she
Yeah.
do? Like, I wouldn't just be like, okay.
Or
well,
you wouldn't be liar.
yeah.
Or you wouldn't be like, oh, okay, good to know. Like,
If it was like one of us had to die in order to get the stone to complete the snap or whatever, and she sacrificed herself before me, I could, then okay, I get it. Like, that's more understandable to me than like, your sister, like she wanted to be the hero to kill herself, and she saved the world.
Almost like he wanted her to forgive him or let it go without giving with giving as little information as possible.
Yeah. I'd be like, you need to explain the whole thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how horrible.
Oh yeah, I would be like, tell me every single detail, everything that happened, what she said, everything. Like,
yeah,
if I were her,
that was just the only thing for me. I wouldn't have
that's
mind.
the thing too, because they had 3 other storylines to wrap up. That suffered. I think every storyline suffered because they had too much going on. Gia, what did you feel about the Yelena Clint stuff? Was it satisfying or rushed?
I mean, it happened. It happened. It made sense that Yelena, because remember, she's being manipulated by Val and whoever Val is working for, which we still don't have an answer for that.
Can I throw out a theory?
Go ahead.
I've been meaning to say this for a while. Fun twist. What if the aunt that Kate has been staying in the apartment was Val? You know how they were hiding out in the aunt's apartment that's in Florida, or that's on vacation or whatever?
That is,
it's very much connecty, but I just, the other day I thought of it. And I was
okay, we know Eleanor.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, Eleanor contacted whoever Val works for, and she hired them to kill Clint, and they chose Yelena to do it. So, as far as we know.
Go ahead, Gio. Continue. Sorry.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, they didn't really have the time, or it wasn't the time or place to really dive deep into what exactly happened and whatnot. But I mean, Yelena has to remember the only reason why she's there is because of her sister's sacrifice. So
yeah,
I was thinking about that. We didn't. I mean, I wasn't on the episode where Yelena blipped, I don't think, but I don't know if you guys talked about. So that whole time when Black Widow was alive during those 5 years, and she was trying to go, she was doing all this stuff in Endgame to save the world. In the back of her head, she's like, I'm trying to save my sister too. Like, she knew her sister was blipped. She knew her sister was missing. Like, for
she said
5 years.
The second she came back was, I need to find my sister. That's the first thing she said.
Well, Yelena said, but now when you go back and watch Endgame, obviously she's wearing the vest that Yelena gave her, which is pretty cool, but she's also fighting to save Yelena too, which we never really did. We didn't know at the time. We didn't know Yelena was blipped until this show.
We didn't know Yelena existed until after Endgame.
Yeah, no, that's true. But they planned these movies years ahead. So when they were working on Endgame, like Kevin Feige knew.
100%. And who knows? We probably wouldn't have even gotten Florence Pugh had it come to that point before Endgame. So, I mean, you never know how it works, whatever.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the party and the action scene at the party before they head to the ice rink, with all that stuff going on?
Well, I'll talk about the second after the ice rink. Jack or Jock, however you say it. Was he not murdering people? Because
he was fighting the
tracksuit people, but he was like with the sword. Like, I'm sitting there like,
okay, yeah, but Yelena and Clint were killing people too.
Let's not do this. It's okay.
Just because I'm sitting there like, he just slashed someone across their body, and I'm like,
suspend disbelief.
I guess flesh wounds.
Most heroes in the MCU kill like all these soldiers and henchmen going after them. They just do.
This feels like 2016 again.
You think
It was
those
just funny
you
to me
think the
because I'm
guy
just
who shot the arrow at and his whole leg froze? You think that guy survived? No way. His leg broke off and he bled out. And then those guys that
the freeze cauterized it.
the truck that shrunk. That
Oh yeah,
and the
they're
Alta
dead.
kid, those guys
They're
are
for
dead.
sure. Yeah, those guys are
Like in
eaten by an
Clint's
owl.
like, oh well. Like
Yeah. It made me laugh because I'm just sitting there like, this guy is cutting people up. But I like him. And I called it. I knew he wasn't the bad guy.
Yeah.
He was the red herring from the beginning.
See,
so
I like him, and I like that he was like, he just wants to help, but he's really good swordsman. Like he was way better than Kate at swords.
yeah.
So, like he's kind of more capable than she is to some extent. But again, we didn't get enough time with him. Also,
I didn't honestly need more. I don't know. His character was very much what's the word? Just much. He was a lot, like the way he acts and
he was supposed
so like I didn't really need much more.
Wanted him to feel like this like over the top bad guy, and if anyone believed he was a bad guy for 1 second, then like they made it way too obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the party stuff was cool. Getting people trying to get sniped off. I loved that the LARPers worked with them and we're basically Avengers now. And I was just like, that is something like anyone I know would do. Like you do like a little side mission. We're basically Avengers now, or at least I would.
Yeah.
So
this brings up a good point. So John Booth says, what about the impressionable child off screen watching Kate Bishop attack and destroy a Christmas tree? So you're just saying like
text Jake. I think that kid is someone. I think it's Kingpin's son. But Jake was like, why would Kingpin put his son in the crossfire? But because that kid literally said, do you know who I am? Like multiple times.
Oh, I know. But her shooting down the tree, it just reminds me, she does some stupid stuff sometimes, to be honest. Like that, she could have gotten down another way. You don't have to shoot down a big ass tree for him to, and he could have died falling from that tree. So
she's reckless. She's reckless.
She's very reckless. Even her jumping down the building, I'm like, what are you doing? You just tied like a little knot.
Yeah.
And you're like swinging down. Like, what is she doing?
I loved that camera shot though of Yelena jumping out and the camera just went like it was following her. She jumps out and the camera just turns and then starts going straight down.
No, Yelena was badass going down there, but
yeah.
Just like Kate is so sloppy and reckless sometimes.
I think that's the point though, for now at least.
Yeah. I would have been pissed at her if I was Clint. I was like, why the hell? I'd be like, why the hell did you shoot the tree down? Like, I'll get off
Christmas.
Yeah.
Gio, thoughts on anything?
I'm just still upset about what they did with Kingpin. I mean, this was his grand entrance, and he gets beaten by Kate Bishop, shot in the face by Echo.
He didn't get beat by her. I mean, he got hit with a car.
He got beat. He went unconscious for a little bit. Kate Bishop defeated Kingpin. Let that sink in for a moment. Kate Bishop.
Now I don't think she defeated him. I think
or won the battle, won round one, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, she got hit with he got hit with a car.
If they were fighting hand-to-hand combat, no weapons, and she like chokes him out and she punches him in the face and knocks him out, and then he's on the floor knocked out. I see your point, Gio, but she literally like set off explosives. Like she hit the arrow that was too dangerous or whatever, and it was, I don't know what it was, a bomb, whatever it was. Like,
I liked all the trick arrows.
Physically beating him, she just got him. Like whether it's fair or not.
Whatever. I'm sure there's an explanation. I didn't like it. Charlie Cox in less than 2 minutes of screen time made a stronger impression than Kingpin did in this entire episode, in my opinion. I'm sure they'll figure out a way. Marvel has a plan. Kevin Feige has a plan. Blah, blah, blah. Kingpin will be back and stronger. But for this episode right now, it just didn't work for me. So
I liked him. He seemed menacing. And I just liked how he was basically like Juggernaut. Like you can't even touch him.
Yeah, no, I like when he ripped off the door. That was pretty cool. So did you guys like how everything wrapped up with Kate and Clint overall? Like her
they're
getting
partners
her
now.
mom arrested and he goes home with him basically, which was interesting. Like, is she gonna live with them now? Like, who knows?
Yeah, 100%. Who else is she gonna live with?
Yeah,
Herself.
no family,
I guess.
basically.
So,
I hope her mom, I hope she inherited some money from her mom or something. Or I guess her mom still
ain't
has.
dead. So
Yeah, I know her mom, but I guess she has no money then, because all her money, her mom's money is probably hers.
Yeah,
and it's not like she can access it just because she's locked up.
and Kingpin's probably going to take control of the company.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. So, Gio, I don't know if you heard us talking about it, but Clint getting the watch back to his wife, basically confirming that she is Mockingbird from the comics, who was a SHIELD agent who at a lot of times was Clint Barton's wife. So that was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, it gives Linda Cardellini more for her character, which is always a good thing. And it opens the door for like some flashback sequences or something.
I hope so.
I'm trying to think when's the next time we can see Linda Cardellini. I mean, it would have to be
something with Kate Bishop, probably.
Something with Kate Bishop, Disney Plus. I don't think she would appear in She-Hulk. I actually like that Happy Hogan might be in She-Hulk. You're gonna need a good lawyer. Hey, there you go. But yeah, I'm all for it. I'm a fan of Linda Cardellini and the fact that she is now going to be, well, now we know she's a character who just isn't brushed off. We hope to see more of. So we'll see. It looks like there's going to be a season 2 of Hawkeye. I mean,
I think there will be.
Yeah,
something.
I
so
think
there's maybe different name, but like an extension of it.
Well, I think what it's going to be is it'll be Hawkeye season 2, but she's the lead of the show. I mean, Kate Bishop basically was the lead of this show. They both were.
Make it Kate Bishop, or don't call it Hawkeye, because it was Kate Bishop's show just as much as it was Hawkeye's. Maybe even more.
He'll probably end up being like
in fact, definitely more. Now that I think about it,
he'll probably end up being like the eye in the sky type.
Well, they implied it at the end when she's like throwing names at him and he's like, I have an idea, and it ends and it shows the name Hawkeye. And if I'm not mistaken, Brian, like she takes on the mantle of Hawkeye, right? In the comics. Like she doesn't have a different name. She's Kate Bishop Hawkeye. Like, so I think she's gonna be Hawkeye going forward.
Yeah,
but
it's
Clint
technically
will
called
be around.
It's called a mini series if you look it up. So I mean, but the way Disney works, they look to see how good things are, and then that went really well, let's do it again. So if anything, it'll be like Hawkeye, except the Hawkeye is Kate Bishop, and Clint is probably going to be the Linda Cardellini to her as she was to him.
Clint has
like just in the background.
We have to see Clint again at some point. I would think maybe Secret Invasion or Armor Wars. We're not going to wait all the way till season 2 of Hawkeye to see him again, right?
I don't think so.
Probably not. I'm just trying to think of what's coming. You're not going to see him in Doctor Strange. You're not going to see him in Moon Knight. You're not going to see him in what movies are there?
He's not going to be in Black Panther, Thor: Love and Thunder, Guardians Volume 3.
So it would, if anything, it would have to be a TV show, and that would be She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel,
Secret Invasion, right? I mean, I would think
honestly, Echo. When does Echo come out?
Echo, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's literally in the she was introduced in this show.
It. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him away from her though.
Maybe.
But yeah, it would definitely have to be a TV show.
I'm thinking Secret Invasion. It makes sense for Nick Fury to call in help and
I'm glad you. Oh, go ahead,
I was
Brian.
just gonna say, I honestly wouldn't be surprised from here on out if he's not really in the action anymore. He's kind of like the Nick Fury to Kate, where it's like
yeah, he'll pop up every now and then, and especially if they do a Hawkeye season 2. Like I said, I think she'll be the definitive lead of that. Kate Bishop will, and he'll be there. He'll be around, but while I may be disappointed by the finale and maybe the season overall, honestly, this series elevated the character of Clint Barton for me,
Of course,
personally, because I think people like disregard, first of all, how badass of a character he really is.
Well,
and
he
then
was
also
the least used of the 6 of originals.
And how much depth he really has. Like some people prefer like, oh, dark characters who do dark things, right? This guy literally murdered, we don't know, hundreds of people, hundreds of mobsters, and slaughtered them. And he has to like live with this. And he obviously regrets doing that, but he was in a very, very dark place. And like, this guy's an Avenger, and he probably did. I mean, we don't know exactly all the stuff that Black Widow did throughout her life, but like, he has just as much to feel guilty about as she does. And like, he's a very, very deep character. And I think, if anything, for me, this show made me like Hawkeye even more.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not? He was barely in very much. Did you hear me say that, Jake? Because I literally said that exact
I want
same
Hawkeye
thing.
to be the Nick Fury for the Young Avengers.
Yeah,
I mean,
that could work. I mean, they kind of did the same thing to his character in Mission Impossible, where he was more of, behind the scenes. And so, yeah.
Jake out here.
That would make sense.
Take what I said and make himself sound like the genius. I see you.
He'd be very different than Nick Fury, but he would essentially function that same way, where he helps get them together because he knows a lot of stuff, and he can, like, we saw the scene of them making arrows, right? I don't know where they were, in a tool shed or something. I don't know. But like, he's very, very capable. He can set them up with gear, like all that stuff. So I think that could be a good call, you guys. Well, anything else you guys want to bring up before we wrap this up? Anything about the series, the episode?
I'm disappointed. I know a lot of people loved it. I didn't. Of the post-credit. Did you watch it, Gio?
I did the thing where if you move the mouse, you kind of get a preview as you move it across.
So it was the play.
I skipped
it was the musical. They showed the actual.
And I just want to say, like, when they showed us the musical in the episode 1 and the part that they were watching, it was funny, right? Because it was so cheesy and stupid. Honestly, it wasn't even funny to me. Like the whole musical.
It was just supposed to be a musical. It was just people wanted a musical. They put it in there. It was just a little fan servicey. I was just hoping for. I get excited for those because I'm usually thinking it's a tease for something to come, and it wasn't. So. Yeah,
and they even said "Happy Holidays" for Marvel Studios. Like we really wanted this musical that bad.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that really did, but for me, I would rather add.
So something. Jake says best MCU series. I gotta disagree. I still got WandaVision.
Me too.
As my best MCU series.
I got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That show is just badass.
Yeah, definitely.
US Agent.
They've all been good to great. But you just gotta. It just depends what you like more. You know what style of show you like.
Very, very drastically different shows across the board.
Which is cool. I mean, I think I got to put Loki at number 2. I loved Loki. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. So exciting.
Right, well, if you guys have nothing else to bring up, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Excited to see what they have going forward. Yeah, we talked about. We think there is going to be a season 2 with Kate Bishop as the definitive lead. At least that's what I think, to be honest, is what they're going to do. But yes, let us know what you guys thought. We appreciate everybody stopping by to watch. For Gio, for Brian, for myself, Jacob, this is Apocalypse Movies. Keep an eye out. We have the Fandalorian Club returning, where we're going to be reviewing the Book of Boba Fett.
When one ends, another begins.
That will kind of take place of Marvel Rewind for now. So keep an eye out for that. And don't forget Apocalypse Now every Tuesday at 7 p.m. I got the time right this time. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.